everybody, it's Kathy Champion, and you're back with me here at Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. So glad you could join me for our very last installment on our Gingerbread and Peppermint Christmas recipe album. So in the last one, we put in our last signature, which was this one. And you can see I'm having some issues with that. So I'm going to show you what to do if you have issues with your piece not holding. We're going to reinforce this, and the reason I wanted to leave it like it was, I could have easily went ahead and cut a piece and got that on there and not said anything, but I figure, hang on for me just a minute, I figured if this happened to me, it could very easily happen to you. So I wanted to show you how to fix it. So let me grab a piece of red cardstock. And this piece right here is probably going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up out of our way. We're going to do some decorating after we finish. I'm not going to put that fourth signature in, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. The reason for that, there's not room because I made my pieces so thick. So I'm going to show you how we're going to fix the problem and how we're going to glue that piece down so it doesn't flap or anything. And then we're going to get to decorating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a 1 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to do a 1 inch piece. I'm going to cut this strip at 1 inch. And let me measure, grab my ruler. I got so much stuff on my desk, y'all. We are going to cut this to 5.5. So 5.5. And then I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch, right in the middle. And what we're doing is basically another one of those seam bindings. If you had some of those left over from where you did your recipe cards, you could very easily use that. So I'm just giving that a good score, just like that. I'm going to fold it, and then I'm going to go ahead and clip my edges before. I'm going to use these big scissors because they're right here. I prefer my snips, but since they're not here, we're going to go with these. And I'm just going to snip those off. Let me get this out of my way so that we can pull the album in. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do to fix this. We're just going to reinforce this particular binding strip. And I'm reinforcing it by sticking down. It's already got sticky on it. But I'm going to bring this all the way down, and I'm going to stick that into it, just lay it down, and then fold this piece over onto it. And see, this is going to give you a much stronger binding strip. Before we do anything else, we're going to put some glue right here on this piece on the back side, because we want to glue this down. And I'm just going to use liquid glue. You could put a piece of tear and tape here if you like. But I think the glue is going to hold it just fine. I'm even going to put some over here. And then I'm just going to press that into that glue just to seal it down. And it's going to be like that piece was not even there. And I'm going to use a bone folder just to press that in really tight. Now I'm going to go back on this piece and I'm going to put glue on it. I'm going to put a little bit of glue right up under here, just to make sure that that's pressing it down really nice and tight. And then I'm going to take my signature piece. Well, before I do that, let's go ahead and add lots and lots of glue. And I got a little tidbit that we're going to do before we start decorating, and I'll show you what that is. I'm going to bend this forward, but I don't want to hit that glue onto those pages, so I'm going to be very, very, kind of hold it up with your finger and just run you a good amount of glue on that piece all the way down, getting every bit of that covered. Now we're going to take our signature piece, find that middle section that I told you about, like there, and we are going to set this down right over top of this piece, just like this. And by reinforcing that piece, you're going to have a stronger piece on there. And if you have not made your album, if you're watching me make this, you may want to reinforce those pieces even before you put your signatures in. I wish I had thought to do that, but I didn't. But crafting is definitely a learning, it's a learn as you go experience. Y'all know that. So everything that you make, you learn something new. So the next time I use this particular system, I will definitely reinforce those tabs that I'm going to be connecting everything to. I think that's just a really good idea. So I'm going to close my book up now, and everything is in there. I have my cookies, I have my chocolate candies, and I have my pies and cakes. So let's make sure that that one's going to bend. When you're bending these, you want to be very, very careful because you don't want it to break. So, and see, that is hitting against there, but that's okay. That's okay. This is par for the course without any type of homemade type book like this. Now, I'm gonna let that sit and dry while I do something a little bit different, but I need to clean my glue off because it was a little bit clumpy when I pulled my pen out. So I'm gonna do that little secret I told y'all about. I'm just gonna clean off the tip of my glue right here. And then I'm going to clean this off. And then I'm going to put my pen back in my glue, and it should just slide in there really easy, and it does. That trick works every time. Now, I asked the question in one of my videos, I think for my card, how did y'all want me to complete my cover? And everybody opted for, just about everybody, I think the consensus was vintage. So, I went through my stamps and I couldn't find anything vintage. So, I turned to Cricut. And I brought in my cute little Cricut Joy. Let me zoom y'all out just a little bit. And this is my Cricut Joy. And yes, I put this little decorative thing on my Cricut Joy because this thing is so cute. It's so little, it's so compact, but it does a wonderful job. I cut this out, and I cut it out of red. I thought this looked so vintage. Don't y'all think it does? I cut the Christmas out of red, just red vinyl, piece of red vinyl that I had. And then I adhered it to a piece of crumb cake cardstock. And I fussy cut around it. I didn't use the die cut. I didn't use a die cut machine or anything. I just used my scissors and I cut around it. Now we could come up in here if you wanted to, but I left that, and I'm going to show you why. Let me move my little Joy out of the way, and I've got a blending brush, and I want to grab my soft suede. I think the soft suede will give me the color that I'm looking for. At least I hope it will. Let's see if I can. I got things so tight over here that I can't get my ink pad. There we go. This is soft suede, and it is a nice rich brown. So let me bring this all here so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to tap, and I'm going to tap off over here. See how dark that is? I don't want it quite that dark. And I'm going to start swirling. And I just want to go around the edges of this and just make it look like old paper. I put it on the crumb cake because I really wanted the old look to come through. And I thought by using a soft suede on this crumb cake would give us a nice worn look around the edges. And I think it's going to do just, and I left this in. I figured if I wanted to cut it out a little bit later, I could do that. Now see, I came in on that side just a little bit too harsh. So let's see if we can even that out a little bit. But I love these brushes. They are wonderful. If you have not invested in these blending brushes that Stampin' Up! Has. Oh my goodness. Now, again, not because I sell it, but because I use this. I have other blending brushes that have gone by the wayside because I love these so much. They are just smooth. I mean, they're flawless. Look at that. And they put down a nice even color. So that's always a good thing when we're crafting and you need your tools to do what you need them to do. Quality means everything. So I'm just going all the way around this, and I'm even going to go across the top just to kind of even everything out. And I love that. Doesn't that look nice and vintage and kind of worn now? Love it, love it, love it. All right, so we got that done. We're not going to use that on the front. I have another place for it, but I thought while my book was drying, it would be a good time to do that. Now, you might ask me, do you wash these? No, I do not wash mine. I have this one dedicated to my beiges and browns. So when I'm done with this, I just rub it on my cardstock or my scrap paper, whatever, and I clean it that way. Now I'll hang this back in my little holder that I have, and it will be ready to use next time. So I'm just going to lay this piece of paper down here and get it out of our way for a moment, and I'm going to show you some of the other images that I cut. When y'all said vintage, I really felt like I needed to go full on vintage. So what did I do? I went and found me a cute little old-timey stove, and I already have it. I've already cut it. I've already transferred it to my transfer tape, and I've done all my weeding on it, so it is ready to go down. I didn't want to go through the entire process on here because it would have taken me forever. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this right here. You might say, well, how are you going to get that to adhere? Well, Cricut, they have brayers that let you do that. I also have this little tool that's a scraper. Now Cricut makes them too, but I got this one from 143 Vinyl. I love to order my vinyl from 143 Vinyl. They have really good vinyl at a excellent price. Quality vinyl. So I'm just going to scrape that down like that. And then we are going to start to peel back. And I always like to peel from the corner. And you want to go slow, because if anything lifts, then you've got time to go back and press it down. Like my little pieces there trying to lift. That's okay. We'll press them down. That's why it's so important to go slow when you do this. I think a lot of times the reason we have failures with our Cricut is we get overzealous and we want to just rip it off. And sometimes slow and steady is the way to go. So just peel that off. And this was a design that was in Design Space, and I have all access, so I didn't have to pay for it. I don't even know what it would be, but I just put in vintage stoves, and this was one of the ones that came up, and it really caught my eye because it was old and it looks like an old wood stove, and I just thought it was gorgeous. So there we go, and you just want to go back and make sure that nothing is lifting. So that one is done. I cut that word Christmas again, but I cut it smaller, and I want it to go maybe right about here. Yep, that will go down without interfering with our, let's see, do I want it to go there or do I want it over this way a little bit? Maybe right here. Okay, so once I get it where I want it, then I'm going to just use my fingers to get everything down. Then I'm going to take my scraper And I'm going to scrape this. Now, if you're making your album, you could very well decorate your front before you bind everything together, if you want to do that. Totally up to you. Now, once again, I'm going to grab an edge, and I am just going to start peeling this back. You know what? That's not adhering down like I wanted it to, so we're going to bray it. I'm going to go back and really scrub down that S and the top of that T. Okay, let's try this again. So I'm going to pick it up. I like to do it from the corner. And just use your fingernail to hold anything that looks like it's trying to lift. Okay, it looks like we're doing pretty good now. Sometimes your fingernail can be a good tool to use, but like I said, slow and steady is definitely the way to go when you're doing anything Cricut. So just pull, and that's wanting to lift up. That's our eye. We want to make sure we got the eye, the dot over our eye. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a coat of Mod Podge over this and just let it sit overnight, because that way I know that's going to seal everything in. Because let's face it, this is going to be a book that's going to get a lot of use during the Christmas. Now, isn't that pretty? I love the way that looks. Everything looks like it's nice and flat. Everything looks really good. Now I have this lady that I want to put right here. I want her to be down here at the corner. She looks very vintage. She looks more like a 1950s mom. And we're going to put her where she looks like she's standing straight. So I had to angle her feet. So again, I'm going to, and she is 2 layers. So I layered her. She's cut out of red and black. I thought that would be a really cute accent for this. And we are going to peel her back. Oh, she's doing really good. Look at that. And she's got on a red apron. How do y'all like that? Is that not cute? Now I have the word desserts. Oops. I have the word desserts, and I'm trying to figure out, do I want to put desserts right here? And I think I do. But is it going to show on that red? That's my question. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a black strip of cardstock, I think. So let me grab a scrap of black. And it seems like everything I got that's black is big, and I know I have some smaller pieces. What if we do a white and put that on white? I think that might even pop more. Let's try that. Let me try a white strip. And if it doesn't, I'll just have to pause and do this over. So I'm just going to put this down about like that, so I can cut it. And this way you get to see how I adhere to just plain cardstock. This is vinyl on cardstock. But the good thing about your vinyl is you can adhere your vinyl to most anything that you want. So I'm really giving that a good scrape. And then we are going to lift everything up. And I'm going to go from this corner. And I'm going to start peeling back. And look at that. Is that not gorgeous? I think that's going to show much better than having it even on black. Isn't that nice? So now I'm going to bring my trimmer up and get a few of these things moved. And I just want to tell y'all, don't forget about the sale that's running. It started yesterday and it runs today and tomorrow. So take advantage of that seasonal sale. Cardstock, dies, and ink pads. Not bundles, but just the individual ink pads. And you want to take advantage of this sale. And what I'm doing is I cut as close up to that where I'm leaving just a tiny bit of a margin. I'm going to do the same thing here. I want to get as close to that as I can. All I'm doing is trimming this out nice and close. Now I'm putting this down and I'm looking in that track to make sure that I'm not impeding onto my actual piece. See what I mean? I got close, but I didn't cut over it. And that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to make this as small as I can without cutting anything away. And that looks really good. I like that. I might even take, well, you know what? Maybe I'll use a little corner rounder or something on the edges, maybe angle it. Let's see what it looks like here. What if we do Christmas? Oh, I don't like that. Any way I go with this, it's going to cover up something. So, I wonder if I can pull her back up. Yep, I think we can. Oh, it ripped it. Okay, that was not a good idea, y'all. That's okay. When I Mod Podge this, it's going to cover. I really want to get her up. And I should have been a little more careful right there. It's okay. We're going to cover that when we bring her over closer to the stove. Just like that. And when I Mod Podge that, I don't think you're going to be able to tell. Then I think I can put desserts right here without it impeding into too many other things. What do y'all think? Do you like that? Christmas desserts, and we got the stove, and you know, I probably could have done that a little smaller. Okay. Think it over, Kathy. Think it over. Let me try doing a little angle cut on this. And that's my stub. Let's see. Sometimes I have to go back and check these to see the stub versus the deco. Okay, and the stub. No, the deco. I don't like the deco. This, for some reason, this one, listen, don't do what I did. I bought a couple of punches off of eBay, and these punches have never been good. So you never know when you buy something like that. All right, here's an angle punch and a photo punch. So let's see. Angle, photo. I like the photo one. Let's see if it's going to impede. Nope, that looks like it might work. I'm just thinking if I could get a little bit less off of here without, maybe we could get this on here without taking up. That's not bad. I mean, it is impeding a little bit on the stove. I could try to move the stove over, but I don't want to. I really don't want to do that. There's too many little fine pieces. This was one thing because it's it's a solid image, so it wasn't hard to do that. I guess we could, you know what else we could do? Let's try this. Let's try putting our lady right here. and put desserts down here, and we will cover up our boo-boo, and it only covers up this little bit of the stove right there. I think I'm gonna go with that. I think I can live with that, so I'm gonna adhere her down. I really wanted desserts on here, and I wish I'd put the stove over here, desserts under there. You know what? Let's try it. I can always put another piece of paper down on top of here. I am definitely gonna try this. I think what I'm gonna do is take another piece of my masking transfer tape and see if I can lift that up with my tape. I want my Christmas to stay where it's at. So, you know, don't do what I do. Don't, make sure you know where you want your stuff to go before you actually adhere it down. Good rule of thumb. I need to practice what I preach, huh? I'm gonna try to lift this using this transfer tape and hope I don't tear the book up. Nope, it's not coming up. Let's see if we can help it up. I think if I could get it moving one time, it might all come. There we go. Usually, if you can get one section of it, there we go. Very good, very good. Okay, and I'm gonna grab my lady right here, and we're gonna try to lift her up. So that's the good thing with Cricut. A lot of times you can, you know, it's not so much like glue, so don't be afraid to try to fix a boo-boo. So now I'm going to take my stove and put right down here. Like that. Let's see if desserts is going to fit right there, and then I think Our Lady will fit right here, and I think that is what is going to be the perfect conclusion to our album. I have one other thing I want to do, or two other things actually. So I am going to lift and peel and peel and peel. Just being careful to hold everything down that you don't want to come up. That needs to stay. And that needs to stay. A lot of times, you know, just if being careful when you peel this back can mean everything in your design staying where you want it. Oh yeah. I like that so much better. Now we can adhere desserts right there, and I think what I might do is come up just a little bit. And do we have room for Our Lady? We've got one of her legs that's gotten twisted underneath her. We got to fix that for sure. Okay, there we go. So you can see I got everything like I wanted. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down next, because even if her head comes up a little bit on top of the sign, the dessert sign, it's okay. So a little glue. Might have had a little bit too much there, but we're just going to spread it out like that. And I'm going to put this right about here. And then we're going to get Our Lady. And I'm peeling this off so I don't have all of that extra tape to worry with. And let's see how she goes right about here. And yeah, it looks like her head's going to be up on the edge of that, but that's okay. That is nothing wrong with that. So I'm going to use my scraper, and I'm going to really scrape her down good and hard. because we've lifted her quite a few times. And like I said, I'm going to do a coat of Mod Podge over all of this just to make sure that everything adheres like I want it. Ah, perfect. I love, love, love this. Now I'm going to open it up in the inside, and I'm going to put Christmas right across here using that vintage. How pretty is that? I love that, and we can just put this on with glue straight down. I do want to trim this just a tiny bit. See if I can find my snips. I do want to trim this. This did not trim out as well as I wanted it to. And when you're fussy cutting, remember to move your scissors, move your piece, not your scissors. I'm going to do the same thing here. Trim that just a little bit neater. And I think I am going to go up into here. Into here. And just curl that around just like that. See how I'm coming down and around and around, and I'm coming back into that cut that was already there. Maybe a little bit more up into here. Yeah, that I like better. And now we'll just glue that down using some liquid glue. So I'm going to start right here on my S. I'm just going to swirl some glue, making sure I'm getting it to the edges. You really want to make sure this is adhered down very well. I just thought this word Christmas was so pretty. When I found it in the Cricut design space, I just fell in love with it. And I can use Cricut images and stuff even with my Stampin' Up, because Stampin' Up doesn't have a electronic cutting machine. So I can bring in my brother's Scan and Cut from time to time, and I can also bring in Cricut. So I'm just going to really mash that down good. And now all we have left to do is our spine. So for my spine, I want to do just a piece of designer series paper. So we're going to keep it very simple. We already got the red there, so we're just going to mat this piece. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to measure. My spine is 2 inches, so I want to cut my, it is 2 by 6, so 5 3/4 by 1 3/4 is what I want my designer series paper to be. So I'm going back in to my Gingerbread and Peppermint paper pack, and I am going to find something that looks kind of vintage, doesn't it? I want something that will accentuate my front and not take away, and I really think that will work. We're going to go with that one. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring over my trimmer and I'm going to cut this down. We know we got a 6 inch, so all I got to do is cut this to 1 3/4. And then we're going to cut it down to 5 3/4. So 1 3/4 by 5 3/4. And this will give us the perfect piece that we need to go on our spine. Now, if you want to, you could very well stamp something, or you could print something out of your computer and have it going down that says Christmas 2021, however you see fit to do that. But this is a great way. I'm wondering if I want to use a craft color behind it. No, I think I'm going to keep it just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this piece. And I'm just going to use a good amount of glue all the way down. And we're going to set it on its end and adhere. Just like that. All right, now we can call our album is done. I hope y'all have enjoyed the process of me making this. If you want to, you can put something back here if you like. You could also decorate the back. I'm not going to do that with mine. This book is going to get a lot of use, and it's going to be flipped through, and all of these pages are going to be opened and shut and opened and shut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here. I'm going to Mod Podge the front and then call it done. I will not come back and show, I might bring it back and show you maybe in another video what it looked like after I Mod Podged. But for right now, we are going to call this book done. I have enjoyed so much the process of making this album with all of you. I hope that you have enjoyed it as much as I have. It's been fun. I can't wait for you to see the next Christmas card that I've got in store for you. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I think you're gonna love it. It's gonna be one of those wow cards. So stay tuned. I'm hoping that I'll have that up for you. If not tomorrow, definitely Thursday, and then join me Friday for a live. I'll be on live with something. I haven't come up with exactly what I'm going to do yet on Friday, but I'll be working on that as the week progresses. Love you guys so much. God bless and keep you. And until we craft again, remember what I always say: let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is worthy. Take care. Go with God and be blessed. I love you all very much. Bye-bye.